Hi YouTube, it's me. Well, I'm going to make a video today about out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences. That was a picture of the first all-women's free-fall star over New York State. I was in that picture. I came in 8th. I'm the one on the far side with the black frat hat, leather hat, and a black and red jumpsuit. If you go back to the beginning of the video, I'm not sure if you can tell which one I am, but I'm the one on the far side that looks like that side is up higher because I had just entered the star and I didn't settle into my slot yet. What happened to me, I'd had 300 jumps skydiving, and then I got this new parachute. I jumped on the old round parachute. I got a new square one, which was just coming out at the time. It was a new design, like about in the late 70s was when I got mine. I think it was 1979 when I hit the ground. And every time my parachute was opening with this malfunction called a barber pole, which is like when you wind up on a swing underneath it. You know, the parachute was open, fine, but I was wound up in a circle underneath. The lines were wound around. And on a round parachute, that wouldn't be any big deal. You would just cut it away, go to your reserve, and that's fine. But on a square, it can be a major problem, which I didn't know. Now, on this particular jump, we smoked it down to 1,800 feet because this girl was trying to get an award to fly into the star 8th or later, which is more difficult. And we opened low, and so I was already low, and I had this barber pole, which was about the 7th time in a row that I had had it, and each time it just, eventually it unwound, but now it was starting to make me concerned, and I waited, and it didn't unwind, and I tried to kick my feet and make myself turn in a circle to unwind it, but that didn't work, and you know, and just thinking about it, I wasted some time, and then I was down to about 1,500 feet. So I got this harebrained idea that if I released one brake, if I released the right brake, it would fly to the right out of the twist. It was wound up to the left. So I thought, if I release the right brake, the parachute will fly itself out, which makes no sense whatsoever. A square parachute is an airfoil, like a wing. It has aerodynamic properties. It has forward speed of about 30 miles an hour. It has turning and brakes. So when I released the right brake, the nose dove forward. It started collapsing from the outside in and started a slow turn to the right. And I thought, well, that's okay. I'll be landing backwards, turning. I'm probably going to sprain my ankle. But, you know, by this time I was even lower, and I didn't want to cut away and go to my reserve. You know, starting out at 1,500 feet, I had my heart set on I would not be in that situation unless I was properly opened at 2,500 feet. Then I would know immediately that I had to cut away, and I would cut away and be under my reserve by 1,800 feet. So, you know, that's so much for expectations. So, eventually the turn started getting faster, though. It started increasing, turning faster and faster. And I thought, oh my God, now I'm going backwards, and I'm turning very rapidly. I'm definitely going to break my leg or both legs. And I was getting very scared. And then it just started collapsing from the outside in, and the turn went to a spin. And then it became an erratic spin, like when you blow up a balloon and you let it go and it just goes, spins all over it. That was me. The whole thing just eventually collapsed into a ball of garbage, material and lines above my head. And I had been upright sitting because, you know, when the parachute opens, instead of falling flat, you're slowed down enough that you're sitting in an upright position in a harness, like a seat. But all of a sudden, I found myself flat on my back in free fall with a ball of garbage over my head, which was probably slowing me down a little bit, maybe from 125 to 115, I don't know. But I kept messing with it. I tried so hard. I was, you know, trying to reach the risers and pull on the lines and fix it and see what I could do, and nothing would work. And then I thought of altitude, and I rolled over onto my stomach, and then I knew. I looked at the ground. I was 800 feet, about 1.5 seconds from impact, in full free fall, and I knew I was going to die. There was absolutely no doubt in my mind. I knew I made my last mistake, and in a few seconds I'd be dead. And then the most incredible thing happened to me then, at that moment. I thought, wow, in a few seconds I'm going to meet God. I'm going to know everything I ever wondered about, and I'm going to talk to God. I'm so honored. How did God choose me for such an honor? Who am I that I get to meet God? And you see, I had forgotten that everyone dies and everyone eventually meets God. And I was so honored. But then the instant that I had that thought, I had the sensation, the air just stopped. I slowed down, and I stopped in midair. I had the sensation of stopping, and my eyes stopped in midair at that spot at 800 feet. And my body fell out below me, careening to the ground at over 100 miles an hour. And at the same time that my body or my soul or spirit stopped, I had the most overwhelming feeling of love that I can't describe it. I can't put it into words, but it felt like me and the grass and the trees and the birds and the sky and God and the stars and the planets, like we were all one. Everything was all like one person. And I was part of it all, and it was all love. I just felt like every blade of grass loved me. Every fly loved me. God loved me. All the stars loved me. I felt all this love like a baby in its mother's womb. And I've never felt anything like that before. And at that point, I knew I wasn't going to die because God told me I was going to be okay. And He didn't tell me in a voice. I didn't hear a voice and I didn't hear a word. But a thought, a direct thought was put into my head. You are going to be okay. You're not going to die. And it came from outside of me. And I know it came from God. I mean, it felt like it came from outside of me. But I know it wasn't something that I thought up in my head. Let me put it that way. So I watched myself. Fall out below me and hit the ground so hard, flat on my back, that I bounced 20 feet up in the air. And then I flipped over and I hit the ground on my stomach. And then from the waist up, I flew back and slammed into the ground on the right side of my head. And it was odd because not exactly when I hit the ground, but a little bit later there was a very loud noise, like an explosion. Like I felt like, a building exploded right at the same time I hit the ground, but that was the sound of me hitting the ground. And that's why skydivers call it bouncing. They call it bouncing or buying the farm. That's the only way you get to own a farm nowadays, is if you die. But that's what they call it when you die, skydiving. And I saw someone commit suicide skydiving, and he also bounced like 20 feet up in the air, but he only bounced once, and he made a loud noise. But I was far away from him, and the noise wasn't for like 3 or 4 seconds after he hit the ground. I heard the noise. But I watched all that, and then, I watched it from above. Then instantly, when I was on the ground, I was right there. I don't remember going there. I didn't fly from 800 feet to my body. I was just instantly right next to my dead body, looking at myself dead. And I got a remembrance, a deja vu. And I thought, oh yeah, now I remember. This was my last jump, and I died. And I heard people talking about me, other skydivers. They were saying, yeah, she wrote in a malfunction on a square. She should have cut it away. Why didn't she cut it away? And I looked at myself. That was the fascinating part, I just was in awe looking at my face because I was lifeless. I was dead. I was looking at my own dead body. It was very weird. But then, in just another instant, I was in my body, and I was all twisted up on the ground. And I thought, wow, it's a miracle. I'm not even hurt. And I lifted my chin just a little bit. And then the pain started way down at the bottom of my spine and just shot up my spine to my head. And then I was paralyzed, something in my neck. I must have torn something, and it made me go paralyzed. And I fell limp onto the ground. And my whole body was paralyzed for 3 days except for my right arm. But then the pain started. I was actually screaming at the top of my lungs in pain, and I hit the ground several farm fields away from the drop zone, and the boy who lived on the farm where I hit had called 911 and said, someone just got killed, their parachute didn't open. And he called before I even hit the ground. He was on the phone with them. But they sent the paramedics anyway, thank God. And when the paramedics got there, I was only in pain for a few minutes, and then I must have gone into shock because I told the paramedics, it's okay, it doesn't hurt anymore. And I was really loopy, like I was high, but they hadn't given me any medicine. But I was also having a lot of trouble taking in a breath and breathing at all, and they were panicking, trying to get oxygen on me. And, you know, that changed me forever. I mean, after that, it's hard to deny that there's a God. Like they say, you'll never find an atheist in a foxhole. After that, I know that we're not here for no reason, just a coincidence of, you know, cells coming together and haphazardly creating an entire universe. Okay? Nothing happens by mistake, and our lives are not a mistake. Everything has a purpose.